So we are back again with another video. We are going to go through our leg session today. So this is our first leg session back in the gym since the gym's opened. So every morning we've got our 30 minutes of cardio, so that's just been wrapped up. We are going to go grab a quick bite to eat before we head over to the gym to our morning clients, and then we are going to take you through that leg session. And then at the end we've got a couple of questions that we're going to answer, a little bit of a prep update that we're all going to go through. So yeah, stay tuned. We've got legs. So we have done our kind of isolation movements first today to kind of really get the most out of those in terms of hamstrings and quads. So we've done a single leg hamstring curl, seated. The one that we have here, I would prefer the pad kind of over the knee, so I tend to stick with that as a single leg because I feel when the weight gets too heavy, there's too much pressure just underneath the knee joint. We then switched on to a leg extension with the added bands. So what we're trying to do there is overload the top kind of third of the movement where the quads are fully contracted, and then we are down onto our hack squat. So with the hack squat, we've got a reverse band set up on it, which I'll give you a look at right now. But the idea of this is to match the strength profile, so the body strength profile. So we are weakest when we're at the bottom of the hack squat, and that's where the hack squat tends to be at its heaviest. So the band takes a little bit of load off as we get down to the bottom of the movement, and we're only trying to catch that last kind of third of the hack squat, just to take that little bit of pressure off the bottom of it. And then as we kind of push up, as we get stronger and the weight kind of balances out, we're able to kind of push that little bit harder on it. So I'll give you a look at the setup on it. So we've got our daisy chain clip, and then the band, is just looped around the actual hack squat itself then, and it just takes that little bit of pressure off it. So everything is still running at just one set, so 10 to 12 reps across the board. We're going to get stuck into this. We're going to do a couple of warm-ups just because I haven't done movements like this in a long time, so we're doing a lot more warm-ups than we normally would. So I've got the hack squat, I've got the leg press next, which we will be banding as well, so I'll show you the setup because we'll be using the bands there to create extra tension and load through the movement, kind of like we did on the leg extension. And then finishing off with just a lying hamstring curl and some calves. But yeah, we're going to get cracking into this, go through a load of warm-ups, and then, as I said, just one top set. So, leg press done. Those last two exercises in particular, leg press and hack squat, after taking the absolute life out of me, especially after so long not doing them, to jump in then. I'm glad it's only the one set because I'm absolutely rattled here. So we're going to finish off now with a lying hamstring curl. We've got calves then to finish off the full session. With the band on the leg press, for today's session, it specifically says heavy banded. So I wrap two blues just around the seat and around the foot pad. And again, it just makes it harder when we get to the top of the leg. We worked up to, 5 plates either side. So again, the actual plate itself wasn't that heavy, but the actual load itself just felt like an absolute ton when it got to the top. So rattled would be an understatement for how I feel now. We're going to get stuck into the hamstring curl, and then we will wrap the session up. Probably going to get some steps done in here as well today, just because it's absolutely miserable outside and I don't want to walk in the rain. So we get stuck into it, keep going. So a little tip on the hamstring curl, especially the lion one. Before you start to bring your legs up, you want to actually contract the glutes, push the hips down into the pad, just to stop the hips firing up when we pull up the heels. If you pull up through the heels first and the hips start firing up on the pad, you're actually just rotating the hips up and hamstrings aren't moving any of the weight. So if we push hips down, contract the glutes, then pull up, you're going to get full load through the hamstring without the hips kind of taking over and bringing that weight up. So small little kind of technique change on it. You definitely have to like the load on it, but you get a lot more. Oh, fuck. So, legs wrapped up. Very, very good session. It's just nice to be back using some machines, using some equipment we haven't been able to use in a long, long time. I'm absolutely fried after it. But I haven't really kind of sat down and gone through the prep so far. So we are now 15 and a half weeks out, so we've done 4.5 weeks now of, I suppose, dieting. It hasn't really felt like dieting too much because the food hasn't changed since the start, so the food is the exact same as it was at the very, very start. We made some slight adjustments when the prep started, brought down the food slightly, but it wasn't a massive drop, and just kind of increased the activity. So steps at the minute, on a rest day we are at 12,000 steps. And then on a training day we're at 10,000 steps. Cardio wise, it's 30 minutes daily on the bike, and I take a scoop of CV burn prior to jumping up on the bike, and that just kind of helps get the heart rate up a little bit higher, just to kind of push the cardio a little bit harder to get more out of it. Apart from that, everything has been going really smooth. Obviously, been back in the gym now this week has been a massive boost to the actual prep itself, and I'm looking forward to kind of the next kind of 2 to 3 weeks just to get that little bit of fullness and pop back across the upper body, across the chest and shoulders in particular, just because I was kind of nursing a little injury as well, and it had kind of played with my mind, taking out a bar and stuff. I'd become very uncomfortable with it. So now we've been back into some machines and stuff, we're able to actually push to kind of failure with the sets in a safe kind of way. Posing and stuff then is, after cardio I do 10 minutes posing, 10-15 minutes posing, just to run through the kind of the poses, the routine. The mensphysique do an eye walk. So you go out, you do 15-20 seconds on a mark, you stand off to the side, everyone is then brought out and they do the comparisons, and then they do the first call out, second call out, so on. So just making sure that when we are on stage everything is polished, we're able to hold the poses for an extended period of time, because from past experiences, the PCA in particular last year, it was about 15-20 minutes on stage holding poses and stuff, and I'd say for about a week afterwards my lower back was just shot to bits. So just making sure that obviously we're in a good place when the posing comes into it. Apart from that, you know, that's kind of where we're at. As I said, we've got 15 and a half weeks out to the first show, 16 and a half to the second, and we have the photo shoot in 12 and a half weeks, the first week of September. So that'll be fun. That'll be kind of fun just to see where we're at, get some shots and stuff, and obviously Rachel is dieting down for that as well, so that'd be kind of an experience to do it with her. But yesterday as well, I put up a little question box on my Instagram, just to kind of go through some of the questions that came through. So the first one was kind of how's prep compared to previous ones, and obviously the starting point was in a garage, which wasn't ideal, but it made do, and it gave us a good position to start. I think the mental switch of starting the prep when we were in the shed definitely changed the training approach in there, and we definitely kind of got a bit more out of it, but it still wasn't ideal. And now obviously transitioning back to the gyms, it's starting to feel a bit more like a prep. Compared to previous preps, this prep so far has been an absolute breeze. Food has started probably 2,000 calories higher than it did the last time around, so it's given us a lot more room to play with. Now that's rough because because I work off a meal plan, I don't know the set kind of calories because I don't want to associate to the numbers that we're on. I'm just kind of eating what's on the plan, but it's roughly about 2,000 calories more than we started on the last prep. And then cardio on the last prep, that got up to nearly 2 hours every day, with 15,000 steps, and that was towards the latter stages of it. But like, condition is good at the minute, everything is moving along nicely, so it's been a breeze compared to the last ones. And then obviously now we've been back in the gyms, it's just given that little bit of a boost to it as well. And I think having Rachel doing it is massive. Rachel has been like obviously the support on the last two, so to have her kind of there in it with me is definitely an added bonus. And obviously even with the last video that we put up with Dave being back, and Connor and Ryan, and that all kind of been in the same mindset and been in that prep kind of phase, it's kind of good just to have that to bounce off and use that to your advantage. So yeah, it's a lot better. It's a lot better than the previous ones. Next one was the end goal with competing. So my end goal with competing, and I actually only spoke about it with Cooper the other day, is and always has been to turn pro, to become an IFBB pro, men's physique. It's always been the goal. I've had it wrote down for years. I wrote it down and sent it to Kuba probably 3 or 4 weeks ago as well, so that he had it set in stone that was what we were working towards. So this year, obviously stepping up to the pro qualifiers, which is the show in the UK, we're going to get a good taste at where we're at. Obviously you want to be battling for your first place, but it's going to give us a good look at where we stand. I'm very, very happy with where we're at. We've definitely made some huge improvements. We're still sitting low 90s, whereas last time out it was like high 70s that we were kind of floating around in kilos. So there's a huge difference there, and it's just obviously making sure we bring that condition, which with Kuba looking over everything, I know it will happen. But yeah, that is the big end goal. The end goal is to turn pro, and again, it might take some time, it might not, who knows, but as Kuba said, it's going to happen. We just have to have the right attitude to it, and we've definitely set everything in place to be able to chase after that. So yeah, big goals, scary goals, but it's, if you don't set the goals high enough, there's no point in chasing them. Next one was the best brand of supplements, and the best kind of pre-workouts. The only supplements that I kind of use are the Trained by JP ones. Quality is 10 out of 10. The only one I won't use with the JP is the EAAs. They taste like pure dirt. They just don't get the flavours right in it. So EAAs, supplement needs. EAAs is very good, taste is fantastic on it. Protein powders, glutamine, creatine, all that kind of stuff I do get off the JP website. If I'm running low on the likes of creatine or glutamine, your carbs, so your cyclic dextrin and stuff, I'll either use my protein or bulk powders as well, just to get the bigger kind of bags, the 5 kilo bags, and they work out a little bit cheaper as well, so you know, saving a few bob there. But in terms of the proteins, pre-workouts, those kind of things, the Train by JP is the best for it. Last two then are for Rachel, and we'll try to twist her arm to actually sit down and kind of talk about it ourselves in relation to her prep and the end goal for her. So we'll try grab her, sit her down. If not, I'll come back to that at a later stage. But yeah, we're going to go get some steps now. As I said, it's absolutely miserable out, and I don't fancy walking in the rain, so I'm just going to go get some steps in and then go home and get some food in. As promised, Rachel, we got some questions.
Absolutely not.
So, how's your prep?
I don't feel like I can't concentrate.
That's even better because you just talk as you're driving. You don't have to worry about it. I need to put my belt on. Oh. So, how's it going?
It's going good. I don't really feel like I'm feeling like I'm on prep just yet.
Okay.
But
I think you will after your changes yesterday.
I was just going to say my food dropped dramatically yesterday, I feel.
But I feel like it was...
Thursday.
It was sugar coated with it. We'll just make some small adjustments.
Yeah. And it was like taking away all of my food. But so probably this week I'll notice it a little bit more. But right now I'm kind of just...
So your current setup, food has dropped. I know you worked it out because, you know, even though you're on a meal plan, you needed to know what the hell you were on.
I'm just curious sometimes, so I like to see what I'm on. But
yeah,
my food dropped. 25 minutes cardio every day except leg days, and still just hitting 11,000 steps. So nothing major at the minute.
12 weeks? 12 weeks left? Is it 12 weeks on Monday?
I think so.
So,
yeah,
12 weeks on Monday.
12 weeks.
And that'll be standing in front of the camera, ready to go.
Which I'm clearly great at.
But yeah, so that's where we're both at now. So you got my update. We've managed to catch her and corner her in the car where she's had nowhere to go. But we're going to record the next episode today as well. So we're going to record our push session today. The sessions are slightly different for me and Rachel, so stay tuned on the next one. We'll talk you through that, bring you through it, and let you know how we're running.